I didn't believe that Hamas was going to make peace with us. I thought Hamas had to be constantly cut back. I myself, of the 4 military operations that we had since the rise of Hamas, since its takeover of Gaza, I led 3 operations to cut them down, not to accommodate them, killed some of their...
You cut them down. What he's talking about, guys, is a concept called cutting the grass. Okay? So cutting the grass, guys, is a...
that they got from elsewhere.
It's a term
believe that
the IDF uses where they would periodically attack Gaza for some military operations. Let me see here. Look, 11 years ago, fucking Czech was talking about this shit. They've been doing it a minute, guys. All right, guys, don't fall asleep on me.
Person in Gaza has lived through multiple rounds of bombardment. It is deeply distressing. You know, I remember in 2021, there was an image that I will never forget of children having to go back to school after the bombardment of 2021. And next to them, they would have the empty chairs and the posters of the child that used to sit in that chair. I think what encapsulates it most for me, an image that I grew up with, was the image of Muhammad al-Durra, who was in his...
Well, yeah, this was a very, I think this was in 1989. This went down during the Intifada.
Father's lap over 20 years ago.
Look, man, Israel's a terrorist state, bro. I'm telling y'all, man.
And his father was begging for Israel to spare his child. And Muhammad was murdered in his lap. And you know what happened this last round? His other kids were murdered. So...
And then Israel wonders why they hate them so much. Like, bro, if you've been occupied for damn near 100 years, all your brothers, all your family was killed by the Israelis, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? You're going to probably pick up a rifle and say, we got to fight these guys. It's always amazing to me how, you know, Elon Musk even said this during an interview. It's amazing to me how, like, the Israelis, like, just don't get it. For every single person you kill, you're going to create more people that are going to join Hamas. You grow up seeing images like this, right? If you're in Palestine, someone in your family's been killed by the IDF before, right? Imagine growing up in an environment where you don't have sovereignty, you can't vote, several members of your family have been killed by the opposition. Are you going to grow up and be like, yeah, I'm Israel's child? No, bro, you're going to be like, yo, we got to resist. This is our land. And these guys are fucking over here taking our land and killing us. We tried to do a peaceful protest. They tried this in 2018, guys. They marched along the fucking border on the gate, the Palestinians, and Israeli snipers shot them. They were doing a peaceful protest in 2018, and they fucking shot and killed them, bro. So it's very simple. People don't like when I say this, but I'm going to say it anyway. Violent occupation is going to lead to violent resistance. I'm say that again for you niggas, because for some odd reasons, the Israelis think that they're the only people that can have self-defense. The Israelis constantly say, Israel has a right to defend itself. Okay. But so do the Palestinians. It's like you do all this bullshit, you kill them, you steal their land, you occupy them, you humiliate them. And then they retaliate and you say, oh, well, okay, well, we have a right to defend ourselves. Well, they have a right to fucking defend themselves too. Because I find it interesting how when the Israelis attack the Palestinians and kill kids, it's self-defense. When the Palestinians hit Israel back for killing their kids, it's terrorism. See the fucking how they frame it with the media? I told you guys where I stand on this. I think both of them are terrorist organizations. Both of them are. Because by definition, the definition of terrorism is conducting violence in the furtherance of political ideology. Both parties have their own political ideology. Obviously, the Israelis with Zionism and the Palestinians with Sharia to some degree. So, but we only acknowledge Israel's right to defend itself. We never acknowledge the Palestinians' right to exist, to defend themselves or have any type of sovereignty. So it's very revealing, the hypocrisy of Israel. It's very revealing. I wrote a tweet about this actually, right? He shows this girl with a gun, right? Talking about Israel. And then I go, how do you expect these people to act any other way? This little girl started out innocent, probably with zero bad vibes towards the Jays, but that all went up in smoke the second the IDF wiped out her dad, brother, uncle, and the rest of her family. How the hell do you have the nerve to judge this kid when you've blown up her house, stolen her land, murdered her people, and locked up her family without a shred of justice? Which, by the way, there's hundreds, if not thousands of Palestinians guys that are in jail without fucking trial or any type of due process. For every Palestinian you kill, you're just breeding 3 more ready to join Hamas. And let's not ignore the blatant hypocrisy. Israel throws a fit over Hamas fighting back against their endless war crimes as if Palestinians don't have every right to defend themselves. Jay's got this ugly pattern of flaunting the fallout from their own atrocities, like these radicalized kids whose family got slaughtered by the IDF while playing the victim. Israel whines about losing 600 civilians, then turns around and slaughters over 60,000 in revenge. And that's the cold hard facts. And then I finish and I say here, violent occupation will inevitably lead to violent retaliation or violent resistance. It's the truth.
Senior leaders. But there was a question whether we had the consensus, both national and international, to go into Gaza and wipe them out.
And here's the thing. Let me be honest about that. Let me also tell you guys this. I don't give a fuck about Hamas, bro. Not a Hamas supporter, none of that bullshit. But what I am saying is people need to be realistic. If you hit someone, you're going to get hit back. And they've been hitting them for like 70, 80 years now at this point. It's like at some point they're going to fucking hit you back, bro. At some point they're going to retaliate. And then the Israelis get hit back and they're all surprised. Oh my God, outrage. And then they respond and they kill 6,000 people. Guys, keep in mind, at most, Hamas killed 600 people on October 7th. That's a tragedy. The loss of any human life is awful. But to come back and kill 60,000 people plus is insane. Insane. Also, look at this. So this came out recently. 83% of Palestinians killed by Israel in Gaza have been civilians, according to a classified Israeli military database. This comes from Israeli fucking intel sources. Okay? 83% are civilians, chat. 83%. And you can make the argument that of the 600 people that Hamas killed, a lot of them aren't civilians because IDF is mandatory military. You can make that argument too, reservists, whatever. I don't make that argument, but I've heard people make that argument before. Gaza's 50% kids. And they're just shooting rockets into there. And then they say, oh, Hamas is using the kids as human body shields. Bruh.
And the answer was, we didn't have it. After October 7th, that changed. We had that consensus, at least for a while, until the Western leaders buckled. But that doesn't change our understanding that we have to get rid of Hamas. Those
Did you know
monsters have
about
to
the
go.
terror tunnels before October the 7th? Were
Yes,
you
of course.
aware that they were building them?
Yes, of course. We knew. We didn't know the full extent because it's underground and there are limited ways. I think Israel has very good intelligence, but intelligence is collection, and that is always limited. And then you have to have your assessments. That is also limited. Yes, did we know about underground tunnels? Of course, yeah, we knew it. Yeah.
Prime Minister, you've just used the words, the Western leaders buckled, and I'm assuming what you're referring to is Keir Starmer's statement on the 25th of July, where he said that the UK would recognise a Palestinian state. What is your response to that? And do you think that is just going to essentially encourage Hamas to continue their resistance?
Yeah, of course it does. I mean, look, they commit the greatest savagery against Jews since the Holocaust. And the Prime Minister of Britain says, we'll reward you with a de facto state, which is what?
Okay, what he's not acknowledging is that the reason why the Brits did that is because the Israelis have been starving and killing them and making everybody look bad. That's an ally with Israel. So the only way that they can get Israel to comply is like, yo, if you guys don't fucking chill out with your military campaign, we're going to recognize a Palestinian state. That's why they did it. It's all political. Keir Starmer's a he's also a Zionist. But obviously, it looks really bad for the British government to be fucking supporting a country here. To be supporting a country here that's conducting a genocide actively. Jaymon says, Benjamin has a valid point, Myron. Given Israel's extensive military capabilities, if their intent was truly genocidal, they could have eradicated the entire Palestinian population in a single weekend at most. Yeah, Jaymon, you got to be a little bit smarter than that, bro. Okay? It's 2025. You can't do an overt genocide, okay? You can't, like, they're not going to just drop bombs like, yeah, kill them all. Like, at the end of the day, Israel understands that they have to operate in a manner where they need to be able to do what they need to do and kill the people they need to kill, but at the same time, not make it look too obvious. Okay? So this is why the definition of genocide also includes, in part, killing a group of people in part. Because in today's day and age, you simply can't outright bomb them and say, yes, we're going to do a genocide overtly like that. They do it slowly but surely. Yes. Does Israel have the capability of nuking them into oblivion and genociding them right there? Of course. But that's an extreme, and no one's going to do that in today's day and age. They're doing it far more surreptitiously. Tell me how a top 8 tried to push out the Jays from Germany, and the Jays were doing it in Palestine, but cry about what happened to them and doing it to another people. Bro, there you go, my friend. You get it. They're doing the same shit that they've been crying about to another group of people. It's crazy to me. The Israelis have become the new Nazis.